So from like just wrap up the giving part where you talked about people jumping over each other and all the kind of craziness
Yeah.
and the massive amount of generosity and funding for the ministry,
Yeah.
um, Messenger International. So they're going to get to go do all these things. When you leave that room, is there anything besides just being like, wow, that was a lot of money? People were so eager to do it. Like what, like in your notes, was there anything else that you like that you take away from that?
I think the biggest thing that's now happened 2 years in a row is this idea that God is even bigger than I thought he was. Of this idea of like you go in, like last year, like I said, it was first year, and we go and we had no idea what to expect. And then we went in and it was like all this was happening, and I was just like, I have been thinking so small and like limiting myself and also putting artificial limits on God because I'm thinking small and setting small goals and having a small vision. And then you go in again and it's just like God is made even bigger of where I don't necessarily know if like the plan for me or what's going to happen in my life is if I'm ever going to be able to go into that room and give as much money as some of the people in that room gave. But I sure as heck want to be able to. And it's this idea of like there is a plan in it, and I think that there's like a little thing that happened on Saturday morning where some people talk and different things, and it's always really really great. Or the 2 years it's been really really great. And there's this idea that they were talking about of like what are we've been talking a little bit about it, but like they talked about what are your expectations of God in your life and how that can impact like your prayer and how that can impact what your heart, your tendencies, what you do. And like, do you sit here in faith and pray and believe that God is going to give you like the keys to the kingdom kind of thing? Or are you sitting here telling yourself like I'm not good enough, I'm unqualified, I'm not ever going to be big enough or talented enough or smart enough or organized enough or whatever it is to go and do what this person does or what that person does or what somebody in the Bible does? So like counting yourself out kind of thing. Or are you working on yourself, working on um your faith, um and going into like literally approaching life with this idea of like I'm very expectant of what God is going to do in my life, and I'm going to walk through every door I can. I'm going to take every opportunity that I can. And like obviously say no when you need to say no, because that was the other part of the conversation was like you can say no. You don't have to say yes to everything, right? Um but just this idea of like being expectant and how much power and confidence honestly that can give you to be able to act on and do the things that you need to do. And um so I think leaving is like God keeps getting bigger. I want my vision and ideas and different things to keep getting bigger and to just be more expectant than ever. And like being expectant also doesn't mean you just sit on your couch and expect good things to happen, right? It's to go out and seek things and
Sure.
walk through the doors that are presented, that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
What do you think was there like a moment or like was there an example or something? So like, what was the kindest thing you saw on the weekend besides giving money?
The
Was there like,
kind,
did you see like the fruit of the spirit? Like, just thinking like, what was something kind that happened? It was like you saw these people do, or
I mean, very practically speaking, like you can walk up to anyone there and talk to them about pretty much anything. And it's primarily made up of pastors and then business owners. And so like the learning that happens in everyone's very open, like very like non-judgmental. Like I don't know, left last year, the first year we went, you may remember, like I was almost anxious going in of how people were gonna treat me or see me or and I think the other side of that like kind of um kindness or like that kind of thing is I'm not going to say never, but it also very, very rarely feels like anything is superficial there. It has every excuse in the world to be very superficial. But when you sit down and talk with people, it feels like people actually care about who you are and what you do and what your struggles are. And you know, you can go and, I mean, John Revere, I got to talk with him for a couple minutes, and he's like remembering things that I told him months ago the last time that I saw him, and like asking for follow-ups and asking like, how is this going? How is that going? How is this? And this is a man who travels 80% of the year, meets tens of thousands of people every single year. Like, and this is their, John and Lisa's 40th year in ministry is this year. And to like to, I don't know how you do it. I feel like I met people and don't remember their names, but I can tell you about their story, which is weird. But to be able to meet people, and people that we met last year who follow up, and they're asking about our kids, they're asking about different things that are going on, but they're remembering details, is something that stands out to me a lot. That I don't know if that's necessarily kind or like what the, but it's something like, like it has every reason in the world to be extremely superficial. And I'm not saying that it, like, no one is, or no one ever is, kind of thing, but I would say overwhelmingly majority is, it's the people who are there matter to each other. And I think that's an amazing thing.